So it's Late Night Louie here on the 193rd installment of the LouieTeeNetwork podcast, fresh off of a Monday Night Football Jags Saints game. I'll give you a breakdown of that in the entire Week 2 preseason in the National Football League, among other things we'll talk about. I know you've had a chance to see that top 100 list. They're starting to whittle it down to the final 10. I'll give you my thoughts on that as well, but man, we starting to get into those dog days of preseason football where you're like, shit, is it time for the preseason to be over yet? And it's crazy because they've shortened it by a game and we're still looking at our watch like, man, is this preseason over yet? Don't worry. One more week of preseason ball left and then we get to the real stuff. But hang tough. We're almost there. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. We about to have some fun tonight. Let's get it. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the 193rd installment of the LouieTeeNetwork podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Want to give a quick shout out to my guy, Eddie Bellinger, for being a silver member of the Mob Squad. What up, Eddie B? And we're going to get to the proceedings this evening. Before we do, I want to start by talking about the preseason, man. And watching these games, I can only help but think to myself, I hope these teams are using this third and final preseason game to give their starters some reps. And we already know there's certain teams out there that have already declared that their players, aren't playing in the preseason at all. Like the Chargers, Brandon Staley has already said, I'm not playing Justin Herbert and a slew of other guys at all in the preseason. I don't think Sean McVay is going to even come close to putting it's Matthew Stafford on the field in Los Angeles for the Rams. And it's not a coincidence because Brandon Staley came from Los Angeles with the Rams. And so I think he kind of shares that same philosophy as Sean McVay does. And what they have been doing, and I get it to a certain extent, I don't love it, is they've been doing these scrimmages. So you get these scrimmages during a week of practice because you're playing that team, you're in town. So you just go ahead and you scrimmage them for a couple of days and you get your reps that way. Stafford gets his reps that way. And it's still, you can't hit him. He hasn't been touched. I hear this from quarterbacks all the time. In the preseason, I just want to get hit one or two good times so that I know it's real and I know I can get hit. I can get that out of the way, and now I can play ball. And you're going to have quarterbacks that just aren't getting, like, even the Steelers decided to play Ben Roethlisberger in week 2. He may not play in week 3 now, but at least he got him some experience. He got out there, he got hit, he ran around a little bit, made some plays. Matt Ryan is reportedly going to play in week 3. I think they're going to play all their starters. They haven't played any of their starters really on the offensive side of the football for the first 2 preseason games, did the Atlanta Falcons. Well, they're going to play their guys in week 3. I think if I were a coach, I would use the third preseason game as the dress rehearsal as it used to be used. Even though there's no fourth game, guess what? You got 2 weeks to rest, to prepare for your upcoming opponent. I would put my guys out there. That's just me. But I struggle with the philosophy of some of these coaches out there. I really do. I'm more along the lines of Brian Flores with the Miami Dolphins, who pretty much said, hey, we ain't out here to play scared, man. Scared money don't make money. I'm out here trying to win ball games, period. I have a culture that I'm trying to instill in these guys. And the culture that I want to instill is that we always going for the gusto. We always going for the throat, the jugular. We trying to win every time we step on the field, and we trying to win by as many points as possible. And we playing our guys, and we not going to play scared. That's how I would be. Because in this game, if you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. You can't play scared. And it's a fine line between being smart and being scared. And it's a lot of scared ass teams out here, man. It really, really is. But we're going to see. It may benefit them. All I know is Tom Brady's already played in a preseason game. Patrick Mahomes has played in both preseason games. Ben Roethlisberger has played in the preseason game. I don't know. You tell me what it is. You know, look, certain guys have earned the right to not play, and I totally get it. If I got a patchwork offensive line out there, I'm not putting my guy out there. I totally get that. And I think some of these coaches are thinking to themselves, if I put my guy out there, then I have to put my other guys out there. And I don't want to risk my other guys, so I'm not going to put my quarterback out there. Because if I put my starter out there, I got to put all 5 of my starting offensive linemen out there. So there is something to be said with that, but at the end of the day, I'm playing everybody for the most part. At least one game. Everybody's going to get a little run. And this would be the one. If I didn't want to play my guys weeks 1 and 2, fine, whatever. I still contend I would work my guys up gradually. If you're not a Russell Wilson, an Aaron Rodgers, a Ben Roethlisberger, a Tom Brady, a Patrick Mahomes, there's no sitting out. If you're not one of these elite dudes, it's 1 series or 2 series in the first preseason game. Maybe you don't play the second preseason game if you're established, and I don't need to see it. You guys looked good. But you're definitely getting some work in this third preseason game, that's for sure. But I digress. Teams are going to do whatever the hell they want to do. I just hope I'm able to benefit, as a Washington fan, to benefit from the Chargers deciding they don't have to play a second-year quarterback at all in the preseason. I hope I get to benefit from that, from some rust and some timing issues and some of that good jazz that comes along with you just not playing in real games where your ass actually can get hit. I hope I benefit from that as a fan of the Washington football team. So we'll see. I could be wrong. They could come out guns a-blazing and they don't miss a beat. And this whole conversation, as I've said before, is moot at that point. But right now, I'm loving our chances week 1 with a team that decided they're going to pass offensively on the entire preseason. I like our chances a lot. Anyway, I digress. Got a couple of I got another shout out here for Rashid Fry. All right. Thank you for joining the stream as a silver member of the Mob Squad. Really appreciate you, Rashid Fry. All right. So with that said, let's get into our first segment of the show. You know what it is. Let me drop this gem on your melon. Open your mind, let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T-double-E. Let me get you open a little bit. Let me get you open. Let me thinking a little bit. So, Jags, Saints, Monday Night Football. The main attraction were the quarterbacks. Obviously, two teams with quarterback battles. Air quotes. I don't think the Jaguars are seriously having a quarterback competition. I think they want to promote competition, much like a lot of teams that say they're having a competition, i.e. Washington. Competition. There's never a competition. It's always been Ryan Fitzpatrick in Washington. I think the same thing is you could say in Jacksonville. It sounds good in theory to say you're having a competition because you want guys to understand that no jobs are being handed out. But it's Trevor Lawrence's job. Who are we fooling? Who are we kidding? Number 1 overall pick. Those guys generally play week 1. Those number 1 overall pick guys, they usually start day 1. I don't see it being any different for Trevor Lawrence. So you wanted to see him. And the Saints, I was intrigued by, what they had been doing in New Orleans. Because all along, I just said it's Jameis Winston, right? This is his second year in New Orleans. He's comfortable. They want to know what they have in Jameis. I said it's got to be Jameis Winston. They passed the baton to him. But then you get the week 1 preseason game versus Baltimore, and Taysom Hill comes out and starts, and I'm like, maybe I'm reading too much into this. But I didn't think Taysom would be getting to start week 1. But maybe they viewed week 2 as more of the real preparation, and that's why Jameis got the week 2 start. I don't know. Again, hard to say, but I just know Jameis took full advantage of the opportunity tonight. We'll talk about the Jags first as the road team, and then we'll get to the Saints to wrap this thing up and move on to Slate Skatin. So I thought that Trevor Lawrence was solid. I didn't think he was terrible. I thought Urban Meyer said it best. They didn't give him any help with the run game. So how many times did we see him in a 3rd and long situation, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11? I mean, they were consistently in 3rd and way behind the sticks. And that's just not a place you want to be. You cannot live in this league and flourish in 3rd and long situations. You want to be at worst 3rd and 6, but really you're looking to be in 3rd or 5 or less. 3rd and manageable is 3rd and 5 or less, essentially. Some people call 6 manageable. That's fine. I prefer to be in 3rd and 5 or less. And I don't think they were in 3rd and 5 very often or less for much of the night with Trevor Lawrence in the game. And so that's a bad position to put your young rookie quarterback in his 2nd NFL start. And to make matters worse, the offensive line isn't that great. They had 2 guys out. 2 of their better offensive linemen were out, in Robinson, and I think Norwell was also out of this game. So you take away 2 of your better offensive linemen from a line that already wasn't all that great to begin with. And you could see he was under siege a bit. His rookie left tackle, Walker Little, got literally walked back into his lap on one play. They blitzed him, and he was running for his life. I didn't think they did enough to protect him. But then that's some of the question with some of these young rookie quarterbacks is, can they protect themselves? Are they getting into the right calls? Are they getting into the right line protections? These are all things that go into these discussions when you're talking about starting a rookie quarterback. Can they protect themselves? Can they get the offense in the right plays and in the right looks to make everything go smoothly? And sometimes guys aren't. I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence falls into that category, but I do know that the Saints, they didn't respect the Jaguars offense at all. They came after him early and often, and they didn't seem to have very many answers for that. So I thought it was tough on Trevor. Thought he gave everything he had, but I don't think, and they have talent. This isn't one of those situations where you're like, man, the Jags don't have a lot around him. No, they've got stuff. All of it isn't healthy right now. You see, DJ Chark was on the sidelines, and I think they just said he had some kind of surgery on his hand or something. So I don't know when he'll be back, but they have talent, between Laviska Shenault and DJ Chark. And I thought Marvin Jones being added to that roster was huge for a young quarterback. Looked like he hurt himself tonight. I think it was something with his shoulder. That's something to keep an eye on. He tried to come back in the game. He caught a pass, and then he left, and he told him, I can't go. So that's something to look out for, to see how serious and significant that injury is. But I mean, there's stuff there, but Travis Etienne gets injured tonight. He was limping around on the sideline, so that's not a good look. They got to be able to run the football better, first and foremost, and they got to find ways to be a little bit more creative. And it's the preseason, so you know what it is. You know how this works. You're not trying to show too much. So even if they have creative ways to try to get the run game off the ground, they're not going to show that in the preseason. So you'd like to execute. Everyone wants to execute. We know you're running vanilla stuff, but you want to see your guys go out and execute. I don't know if the Jaguars did that tonight or not. So it was a tough go of it. A lot of 3 and outs, very ineffective. They didn't move the ball well until the Saints. I don't want to say they took out a lot of their defensive starters, but they took out a handful of those guys and started inserting some of those second team guys. A lot of the secondary guys stayed in for a little while, like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. A lot of those guys stayed in for a while, maybe even the whole first half. But they started to take out some of the guys that they know are key contributors, especially on the D-line. And so that's when they started to move the football a little bit. But it's going to be tough sledding. Anytime you get drafted number 1 overall, it's usually for a reason. It's usually because the team you're going to isn't very good. And the Jaguars aren't very good. And so it's going to be, and it's a transition. Urban Meyer's coming in from the collegiate ranks, and this ain't college. He's going to figure that out. I think he's figuring that out now. This ain't college. And Darren Bevel has his own ideas of what this offense should look like. I'm pretty sure Herb feels like the offense should look more like what he's accustomed to in college. So I think there's going to be a lot of, trying to figure some things out as you go. It's going to be a lot of on-the-job training for the Jaguars this year, and that goes for Trevor Lawrence as well. So I think that's what you kind of gleaned from this game. When you flip it over to the Saints side of things, I don't know if you could have scripted a better quarter and a half, I guess it was, for Jameis. I don't know if you can script a better quarter and a half than what he had to start the game off. 10 attempts, 9 completions, like 120 some odd yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 bombs to Marquez Callaway. And I talked about him last preseason game, if you remember, against the Ravens, and I said, look, he's going to have to step up. They don't really have a lot out there. And then Adam Troutman, their tight end that they drafted last year, goes down, and we don't know the significance of that injury, but it didn't look good. When you get carted off, that's never a good thing. So, we'll await the results of that. But I said, with no Michael Thomas for the first probably month and a half of the season, you're going to have somebody step up. And Marquez Callaway, I said, look, if you're gonna put that 1 on your chest, you're gonna be number 1, then you got to step up. You can't just put on 1 and we treating it like college now. If you got the number 1, you got to be a dog. You got to be a beast. Well, he looks like he's ready to start eating over there, man. He looks like he's ready to start doing DBs dirty, and he did some DBs dirty tonight. One in double coverage on a deep ball, including some pass interference that he was able to still come down with the deep ball on. And then the Jaguars spent a lot of money on the corner. Shaq, from Seattle, Shaq Griffin. And he beat him like he stole something, ran right by him. And Shaq Griffin's a 4'3" dude, and Callaway's a 4'5" dude. You couldn't tell. He ran right by him. And he could not stack him. He could not get back in the hip pocket and be in that position to turn and locate the ball. He couldn't get back even with him. So, and then he made a one-handed grab on top of it. So Callaway was outstanding. Jameis Winston was outstanding. His decision-making was flawless. And that's what they're going to need from him. Is for him to take what the defense gives him. And then when you get big shot opportunities, take them and make them. And he did that tonight. And if they could supplement that with a nice run game, which they did with Tony Jones Jr. And obviously Alvin Kamara when he is inserted into the lineup, they could have something in New Orleans. Maybe we underestimated them. I still think this is a down year for the Saints. I'm not moving off of that spot. I still think when shit gets real, Jameis is going to make some mistakes. He's going to turn the football over. He's got to prove to me that he's turned over a brand new leaf in New Orleans. I think when the kitchen gets hot, he's going to revert back to his old ways of cooking. And he's going to throw a couple of rotten fruit and vegetables into the pot. And I think it's going to turn out to be frustrating for the Saints at times. But at the end of the day, I just don't think they got enough. If Callaway is what he's showing us, if I'm playing the Saints and my team is playing the Saints in the first, 4 or 5 weeks of the season, I'm taking him away. And I'm saying, all right, Traquan Smith, one of these other dudes, I dare you. I double dog dare you to beat me. With no Michael Thomas. And if this is the only dude, Jameis went to him at least 5 times out of his 10 attempts. That's the guy. Okay. With no real tight end threat. I do like the kid from Oregon. Everyone knew. I remember him coming through the draft process, not wanting to officially make the switch to tight end. And at the combine, I remember very vividly Charles Davis saying, he's a tight end, he just doesn't know it yet. Well, he's a tight end. He was right. And he looks the part. He's a big kid. We knew he was going to be more likely than not a tight end at 6'4", 6'5", 235, 240 pounds, right around that area when he was coming out of Oregon. And he looks the part. But I'm going to dare somebody else to beat me if this is the only guy they got early in the season. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But that was impressive by Jameis. I think he pretty much put a stranglehold on the quarterback position. And, Sean's trying to be diplomatic here. He's trying to make sure that Taysom believes he's getting a fair shot. But I think he values Taysom way too much in all the other roles that he fills for that team. Personal protector, fullback, tight end, move tight end, running back at times, and then gadget quarterback. There's too many things that he does for you on a weekly basis that you would lose if he's your starting quarterback. I think Sean understands that, and he doesn't want this guy to be a starting quarterback, but he's got to make it seem like he's giving him an opportunity. So I think we've seen that come and go. Jameis is going to be the guy, and we'll see what happens with the Saints this year. But that was a hell of a performance by Jameis Winston, and we'll see what the Saints. They're making me feel like maybe I underestimated some of the stuff they have, but I don't think I have. I think I know what they are. I think Marquez Callaway looks the part, but I don't think they have a lot of stuff. And don't forget about Alvin Kamara. He's everything for them. So he's a problem in himself. Yeah. So I do understand that, and I recognize that. But these are two teams that probably are going to be going in opposite directions. The Jags are going to stink again, and a lot of growing pains. And I think that the Saints, I don't think they're going to be what we're accustomed to, 12-4, this year 12-5, 11-6. I don't know if that's who the Saints are this year. They could be more along the lines of 9-8. That's what you generally get with a Jameis Winston-led team, is you're hovering around 500. So it wouldn't shock me if that's what their fate is this year, but we'll see. I never like to count out a Sean Payton coached team, because they just find a way to get the most out of whatever it is they have. And that might be what they have to do this year, because I just don't see a lot of stuff on the offensive side of the football, especially without Michael Thomas being healthy. So that's a recap of the Monday night game. And we'll get to the rest of the slate of week 2 preseason games here in a second. I got a super chat. I want to knock this out real quick. Got you. Rashid. Got you. Sorry about that. I thought I was saying it wrong, but I never know. I never know. So I appreciate you. You don't have to worry about me jacking that up again. So Rashid Fry, thank you for joining the chat as a silver member of the Mob Squad. So Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chauncey writes, Lou, I'm back. Glad to have you back, Chauncey. He says, been enjoying this retirement with the wifey. That's the way to do it. You earn that, man. You put in the work, you put in the years, you put in the decades. You earn the right to retire and enjoy that. I know so many people that are retired, but they refuse to go sit their asses down or to just enjoy the fruits of their labor. You work this hard. Your kids are grown. They're out of the house. They've got their own lives. You got money stashed away. Go enjoy life. Go enjoy what you worked for. Go see the world. I mean, I know it's a little tough to do that right now, but just enjoy life, man. You earn the right to do that. So I'm glad to hear that. He said, but it was my time to get back to NC. Just joined the Mob Squad. How's Matt Ioannidis? Matt Ioannidis is fine. And I'm not worried about any of the guys that have been out for much of camp. I'm looking forward to all of these guys getting back out there when the games count and being huge contributors, like Curtis Samuel and some of these other guys they've been slow playing and bringing along. I think we won't see William Jackson III until the season starts again. So I think there are going to be a lot of guys that they just take it nice and slow with, because it's about the regular season and having all your horses ready for that action. So I really appreciate you joining the Mob Squad. And I tell you what, Matt Ioannidis, I think he's going to be huge for us this year. But, that remains to be seen. We'll see. But thank you for the super chat. And hopefully you joined the right Mob Squad, because if you did, normally it will show up in the comment section. But if you haven't, There's a video out there, the Mob Squad video. Check that video out. And I'll be talking about it more as the next couple of days go by. So no worries. None at all. But we're going to take a quick break, get a word from one of our sponsors. And then we'll come back on the other side and we will jump straight into our slate skating week 2 of the preseason. Get your skates on. I'm going to go ahead and throw my rollerblades on. We're going to hit the pavement and we're going to go through this as quick as possible. You're dialed into the 193rd installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I'll see you on the other side. I want to take this time to thank Manscaped for sponsoring the Louie T Network podcast. Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston, do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you've got zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code LouieT. Ready for an out-of-world experience, fellas? Look no further than a Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that is just taken off not only in the US, but Canada, the UK, and across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their 4.0 lawnmower trimmer, weed whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, crop preserver ball deodorant, crop reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 lawnmower trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on your journey to trim your body, balls, butt, and even your anus. You see what we did there? This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on and off switch which can engage a travel lock and is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for a more precise shave throughout your travels across the universe. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Pause. Don't forget to use Crop Preserver ball deodorant and their Crop Reviver to help your little planets on their A game while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and Shed Travel Bag. Abort hairy balls and Buzz Lightyear that Woody with Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code LouieT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code LouieT at manscaped.com. For a clean Trinity and beyond, your space balls will thank you. Y'all got y'all skates on? Y'all ready to go? All right, man. Let's hit this pavement in and get going. It's time to go slate skating. If you are listening to this podcast on a traditional format, not actually watching the show on YouTube, but just listening, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast as that helps it on those various platforms. If you're watching this at home via YouTube or on the go on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and hit the like button as that helps this channel and this podcast grow exponentially. So without any further ado, let's go slate skating. And we start week 2 of the preseason. Go back to Friday night's action where you had two games. You had Cincinnati at Washington, and you had Kansas City at Arizona. We start with Washington hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Not a lot to glean from this game. QBs stink without Burrow, if you're talking Cincinnati. I mean, Brandon Allen, bless his heart, and all the rest of the guys that are on that roster, the Cincinnati Bengals don't stand a chance without him. And we saw that last year when he went down. There isn't anything there. The cupboard is bare. And so it doesn't help, though, when the guy you drafted top 5 overall, isn't catching the football. Doesn't matter who's throwing it to him. You drafted him that high because he's supposed to catch it. He had 2 drops. I know most people are saying he had 3. I'm going to give him a pass on one of those drops because I thought it was a well-defended ball. The other 2, he made business decisions. He was going to be touched up. He knew he was going to get touched up, and he didn't want the smoke. And he decided, preseason game, take a shot to make a catch for 5 to 7 yards, or be ready for the start of the regular season. And drop it. He said, I'll take the start of the regular season with my guy Joey B. So he had some drops. It wasn't pretty, but he'll be fine. But the Bengals offensively, I think they had a total of 55 yards in the first half. They were 0 of 6 on third down. And I think they had a total of 2 first downs the entire first half against Washington's defense. And not all of it was Washington's defense's doing, but they just stink. They just stink without Joe Burrow. And, they didn't have all their guys in there, obviously, but Joe Mixon played. I mean, most of their guys played. It just wasn't, Joe Burrow. And that's really the missing ingredient. If they don't have him, they don't have a chance. Fitz in the offense for Washington, very shaky. Opportunities were there. They missed some opportunities. They failed to convert on a 4th and 1. Fitz missed on a deep ball opportunity. He did hit on a deep ball opportunity. He missed on a 3rd down to Logan Thomas, who was open. He missed on an opportunity over the middle of the field to Adam Humphries. He missed on an end zone opportunity to Adam Humphries as well. They looked out of sync a bit. But that's what the preseason is for, to continue to try to work to get to where they ultimately want to be before week 1 gets here. That's now 2 preseason games, about a good quarter, about 2 quarters and a half or so of work for the first team offense, and no touchdowns to show for it. So they're still looking for their first touchdown of the preseason, or the Washington football team's first team offense. We'll see if they're able to get that versus the Baltimore Ravens in the final preseason game of the 2021 preseason. Washington gets the win, though, 17-13 for their first win of the preseason. Both teams leave the preseason, leave this game at 1-1. Kansas City at Arizona. I was shocked, honestly, at how long Patrick Mahomes and the first team offense played. But you know what? That's Andy Reid's way of saying, look, we got a lot of work to do, a lot of moving parts. I need my guys out there. I need to see what this looks like. I love it. Again, you can't play this game scared and expect results. Not good ones, at least. So those boys played essentially the entire first half almost. So my first observation of the 17-10 victory for the Chiefs over the Cardinals is Mahomes' toe looks fine. And remember, that was a big deal at the end of last season. In the postseason, the toe was an issue. He couldn't move around as well as we're accustomed to seeing him move. Well, he's back to being that crazy helter-skelter, running backwards 13 yards to throw it 40 yards down the field type of guy. He looks fine. He scrambled for a couple of first downs, including a first down on a 4th down. So the toe is fine. Timing with Mecole Hardman, who's going to be their new number 2 wide receiver, looks a little off. Hartman started to make plays when Chad Henne came into the game. Had a beautiful, shoe tops catch in the end zone for a touchdown, did Hartman. But him and Mahomes look like they still got to work out some timing issues, and they'll get there. It shouldn't be a big deal. And then the defense, I thought, for the Chiefs was just exceptional in this game. Chris Jones had a sack of Kyler Murray early on. Juan Thornhill with arguably the best interception I've seen all preseason to this point. And then you had, Hughes, who the Vikings gave up on. Mike Hughes, they gave up on him. The Chiefs said, well, we don't mind if we'll take your scraps. You don't want it anymore. We'll recycle that. And that's what they seem to like to do. They did it with the Giants corner that was released after he had some legal issues. They did it with another former first-round corner that team had soured on in Mike Hughes. They said, we'll take him and we'll try to polish him up. And he looked good. He looked confident out there. So I thought the Chiefs defensively looked really good against the Arizona Cardinals. Meanwhile, the Cardinals offensively, they look scatterbrained. I feel like their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, has so many toys to play with now that he doesn't really know what to do. Like, he's trying to get so much done in so little time that you could tell it's like overload for his brain right now. He's just doing too much. He's got Elijah. He's got the Moore. What is his damn name? From Rondale Moore from Purdue. They got AJ Green now. So you still got all these guys like Keyshawn Johnson that are still on the roster that you're trying to work in to see if they are guys that you want around on this roster. There's just so many guys. I can tell you they got some talented ass dude that's like 6'4" that can jump out of the damn gym. And he goes up and gets a ball. Now it gets knocked away. But they said he's been making these acrobatic catches all camp. I could see it. He looks impressive. That's a guy to keep an eye on. I don't remember what his name was, but he looked like a guy that intrigues me, that I would like to keep tabs on, just in case the Cardinals are like, nah, you're not good enough to make our roster yet. I'm like, I'd like to kick the tires on that. But I just feel like Kyler Murray wasn't in long enough, only 2 possessions. They were very unproductive possessions. I talked about him getting sacked by Chris Jones on one of those possessions. And I didn't think I had seen enough of Kyler Murray. This offense didn't look like they were running smooth enough for him to just be in and out. But they got a whole nother preseason game. Hopefully Cliff Kingsbury doesn't subscribe to what some of these other coaches are subscribing to and won't play them, because they don't look ready to go out on the field week 1. So they need more work. I thought, though, that Isaiah Simmons was one of the few bright spots defensively for them. He looks like a guy that totally gets it, like a whole 180 has been done from the guy that was wide-eyed and didn't really look like he was comfortable as a rookie early in his first season in the NFL. He seems to have figured it out. Got a jersey number change. He's in a single digit now. He looks like he's ready to have a breakout type of season. So we'll see what happens with him. Buffalo at Chicago, arguably my most exciting watch of the weekend. I enjoyed this thoroughly. You know why. Come on now. You know why. You already know why I enjoyed this. My guy Mitchell Trubisky. His mama named him Mitchell. I'm going to call him Mitchell. He went back to Chicago. And on socials, you had people, making a big deal of it. Like one of his ex-teammates, running back, I can't think of his name. Tariq Cohen. And he was saying, look, man, if y'all boo Mitchell when he comes back, you're a lame and you're a weirdo. I'm like, you're taking it a bit far, but I get what you're trying to do, and I agree. You shouldn't boo him. But to call him a weirdo, a lame is fine. You're lame for that. But a weirdo, but I know that's some young boy lingo. I know what it is. Still, I thought that was a little bit extreme, but I get it. And no, they shouldn't boo Mitchell. But there are going to be some fans that they don't really care for Mitchell. They spent the first round pick. They traded up to get him, and he didn't work. I contend that some of that was coaching. A lot of it was coaching. I think Mitchell can start in this league, and I've said that already. You put him on the right team with the right coaching staff, and I think there is something that you can get out of Mitchell. There's something there to tap into. I'm not saying that going off of one game, you just go, oh my God, Mitchell Trubisky is awesome. He should be starting somewhere. But I felt like Mitchell should have gotten another opportunity. Anyway, and I think he will ultimately. We'll see if Marcus Mariota gets one. We'll see if, Jameis Winston is getting another one after having to sit down for a little while and watch. And we'll see if he gets the Ryan Tannehill treatment. I think he's going to get the Ryan Tannehill treatment. Someone's going to give him an opportunity, and he's going to take the advantage of it and make the most of it, because I think he's got talent, man. And Mitchell mother effing Trubisky went apeshit on his former team and showed them what the game's been missing. 7 first half possessions, 6 of them were scoring possessions led by one Mitchell Trubisky. 34 points scored in the first half by the Buffalo Bills offense, led by one Mitchell Trubisky. 20 of 28 for 221 yards and a touchdown. Let me say that one more time, because that was not the entire game. That was just one half of football. 20 of 28 for 221 and a touchdown. Mitchell was on fire. On fire. They couldn't stop him. He used his legs. He used his arms. He extended plays. He was pinpoint accurate. He was decisive. He was everything the Bears thought they were getting when they moved up one spot to draft him second overall. And we've seen Mitch have stretches where he's played like this before. I just felt like it was a matter of coaching. I didn't like, I'm not a big fan of their head coach, Matt Nagy. I don't think he does a tremendous job. I think you're seeing that right now. I saw a great tweet, and we'll get to the Bears here in a second. But I saw a great tweet from someone, and it was a Bears fan, had to be. And in his tweet, he said, so let me get this straight. Trevor Lawrence gets reps with the ones in Jacksonville. Zach Wilson gets reps with the ones in New York for the Jets. Trey Lance gets reps with the ones in San Francisco. And Mac Jones gets some reps with the ones in New England. Yet Justin Fields is getting reps with the 3s and the 4s. Okay, all right, I got it. All right. Makes a ton of sense. He said, make it make sense, Chicago. But I get where he's coming from, because I don't think to this point we've seen Fields playing with any more than the 2s, really. I think that first preseason game, he got in relatively early. And I do know Jesse James was in, and that's a guy that they're going to be relying on. And there was some other players still in there. So I don't want to make it seem like every time he's been in, it's been 3s and, guys that aren't going to be in the league and aren't going to make the team. But that's primarily what he played with this last game. And it was bad. It was really bad. But let me go back to Mitchell. I wasn't done lauding and praising Mitchell Trubisky. I was not done yet, because the Bills, I thought, didn't play him enough in the first preseason game. I said, I want more Mitchell, not less. He's your backup. If anything happens to Josh Allen, this is the guy you're going to be relying to keep your season alive. He needs reps. They said, we're going to give him all the reps he can ask for in the second game. Don't worry. Mission accomplished. Mitchell looked excellent. He was wheeling and dealing, man. I loved it. Loved every second of it. So to the Bears, I thought both of the Bears' first teams, offensively and defensively, looked lethargic, sluggish, out of sorts. And they had their guys out there. Khalil Mack was out there. Their starting corners were out there. Like, they had their guys out there for the most part. Obviously, there may be 2 or 3 guys that are starters on both sides of the ball that weren't out there. Like, Allen Robinson, to my knowledge, wasn't out there for the Bears offensively. Like, yeah, trust me, all of their stuff wasn't out there. But for the most part, most of it was. And they were getting shredded on both sides. The defense, which is supposed to be the strength of that team, Mitchell Trubisky was going through that defense like a hot knife through butter. Offensively, they couldn't get really anything going with Andy Dalton at quarterback. So they're going to be a team to watch, because if they get off to a really bad start and things start to spiral out of control, could we see an in-season change there? Could we see a change after the season? Again, I always bring this up because I'm not a big Matt Nagy fan, but I do want to acknowledge the fact that he has gone to the playoffs 2 out of his first 3 years in Chicago. Like, let's not forget that. And one of those 2 seasons was actually a division crown for the Bears that first year. So I don't want to make it seem like he's been absolutely horrid, but I don't love what he's done in Chicago, just to be clear. But in any event, Justin Fields was the main attraction here, though. Who are we kidding, right? I thought that he was under siege. I thought that he did not have enough around him. I thought that if you're going to put Justin Fields out there, you have to at least give him some semblance of an offensive line, man. That was atrocious, what they put in front of him. And you're asking the young man to pretty much be Superman in his second career NFL game. Like, come on, seriously, what are we doing here? If you're not going to give the young man enough in front of him, why are you putting him in the game then? Like, you have to put him in a position to succeed. You have to build up his confidence. That's what the preseason is supposed to be all about, is you allowing him to get his feet wet, but doing it in a manner that allows him to build confidence. This was not a confidence building win. He did not build off of the things he did against the Dolphins a week ago. He regressed. He regressed because the talent around him regressed. So I thought it was shame on the Bears for putting him in a pretty much no-win situation, because the Dolphins didn't match their, the Bills didn't match their energy. You know, they were still going out there hard, you know, and he struggled, man. He struggled. He did not look like the guy that we saw last week. Fields was not at his best, but that's because he was not protected. He was running around from the word go. He was running around out there. So 41-15 is your end result there. And I told you about this already. When you see ass whoopings like that, when you see a difference in the preseason of 20 some odd points or more, it speaks to one of about 3 things. And it could be any combination, any single one of these things, or all of them. You either got a plethora of turnovers, or you lack depth, or the other team took it serious. They played their guys longer than you did, and you took a pass, a hard pass. Like, yeah, we'll play our 2s and 3s, and they had their 1s in for a half. You can get your ass beat quick, fast, and in a hurry, and badly when those things, one or more than one of those things, or a conjunction of them, take place. So I think the Bears are another one of these teams that are top heavy. You know, they have frontline guys that get you excited, but after that, the depth on the team is really limited. Don't think you love what they have after their starters. So that kind of shows in games like this. But anyway, big game for Mitchell Trubisky. I'm happy for Mitch. I know it's one game. It's a preseason game. We may not see Mitch again when the season starts all year long. You know, but if I know Josh Allen and his Bills offense like I think I do, they'll get a couple of ass whoopings throughout the course of the season, and we'll get to see some mop-up duty for Mitch. Hell, they may even wrap up the AFC East with 3 games left, and we'll get some late season Mitch. But, yeah, that was fun to watch. 41-15, Bills destroy the Bears. Jets at the Packers. 23-14 win for the Jets. We start with the Jets. Zach Wilson and Corey Davis seem to have a nice little connection going between the two of them. That's huge because you draft a young quarterback, you want to give him a guy that he can grow with. Corey Davis may be that guy. They signed him in free agency, gave him some good money, and he and Zach Wilson seem to be on the same page. So that's great news. Corey Davis with a nice outing versus the Packers. As for Wilson, I thought he looked the sharpest of any of the rookie quarterbacks this week. I thought last week you probably had to give that distinction to Mac Jones, with Justin Fields being slightly behind. I thought Zach Wilson last week was ho-hum. I didn't think he played very long. I didn't think he did anything, extravagant. This week, you saw why I thought he was the best quarterback in this year's draft class. I thought Trevor Lawrence was the safest, because we know what he's done. But if you're talking off of pure talent that projects to the next level, it was Zach Wilson, and I honestly don't think it was close. You saw it, throwing from all types of platforms. This guy had a rollout to his left where he had to square his body, and he just flicked his wrist, and he hit Corey Davis right on the sidelines for like a 30-yard completion. I mean, the guy is dumb, talent-wise. Aaron Rodgers, who had a front row seat of the action, said, this guy has it. This guy has it. Okay, he can. I think Aaron's words were something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, he can throw the football. He can fling it. He can sling it. Something along those lines. Yeah, he can. And Aaron got to see it firsthand. And I just thought he was sharp. He was super sharp and accurate with the ball, decisive. And I think he led them on a couple of scoring drives and then got out of there. I think both of his scoring drives ended with touchdown tosses to his tight end. Matter of fact, I think he was with the Bills last year, Tyler Kroft. So I thought Zach Wilson was scorching in this game. And that's what the Jets are going to need if they're going to have a chance to be competitive this year. So he was outstanding. So was Corey Davis. Shout out to Tyler Kroft for making some grabs as well. You flip it over to the Green Bay side. Disappointing because no Jordan Love. Remember, we talked about him getting injured last week, and the report was, he shouldn't miss any time. Well, obviously, they're going to take it slow with him. They don't need to rush. So he didn't play in this game. And that kind of that knocked the luster off for me with Green Bay. I don't need to see Kirk Ben Kirk. But I will say Kurt Benkert was actually really good in this game. Really impressed with Kirk in this game. And Kylan Hill continues to impress. And I think last week I said he was from Texas A&M. He's actually from Mississippi State. I get those two colleges mixed up all the time. They got the same colors. They look the same. They both play in the SEC. Charge that one to my head, not my heart. So he looks really good, man. Second straight week with a nice sized touchdown from about 15, 20 yards out. He looks like he's going to be a great complement to Aaron Jones. And then the Pack's special teams has been a problem all preseason. It was a problem last year during the regular season and even somewhat during the playoffs. And it's continuing to rear its ugly head. Corey Ballantyne with a nice return in this game, setting up some great field position for the Jets. That's something the Packers have to get cleaned up. They got to be better on special teams. You wanna undo something that you have good going, have a lousy special teams unit. So that's something they'll have to clean up. But nonetheless, Zach Wilson was the headliner of that one, and he did not disappoint. Baltimore Ravens at the Carolina Panthers. Ravens get the win 20-3 to extend the craziest win streak in all of sports. 19 straight preseason victories for the Baltimore Ravens. This was a snooze fest, honestly. The Ravens didn't actually seize control of this game until both teams had taken out any meaningful players of the football game. But I will acknowledge that Baltimore's defense, they cranked it up when it was necessary, and they seem to do that quite often. So the Panthers, I want to say, generated a turnover. So I think that first possession of the game, they don't have Lamar in the game, obviously. So they got the kid Tyler Huntley, who we saw in the playoffs last year versus the Bills, in there. And he throws a pick. Ball's batted at the line of scrimmage by, I want to say, the second-year Auburn defensive tackle. And it flutters to its target, and right there, Johnny on the spot, is their new free agent acquisition, Hassan Reddick. Steps in front of it, picks it off. And I want to say Brown was the one that deflected it. And so Reddick takes it the other way, gets deep into Ravens territory, and look who's playing this week. He didn't play last week, and I'm like, why is he not playing? Look who shows up for a couple of possessions. Old Sam Darnold. So Sam's in the game. It makes a couple of plays. They run it a little bit. He tosses it around once or twice. And next thing you know, they're down at the 2-yard line or so. First and goal. And they try and run it with Chuba Hubbard. And I think Chuba had a nice little catch and run or just a good run or whatever to help him get down there. And get stopped at the 1. So you're thinking they're going to get this thing in. So they try a little pass. That didn't work. They try to run it on 3rd down. Chuba gets stonewalled. So they line. I'm like, it's 4 down territory. It's preseason. Why not? So they line up. I think it's going to be a pass. The commentator thinks it's going to be a pass. It's a run. And I think Chuba might have lost 2 yards. I mean, Deshaun Elliott was everywhere in this game for the Ravens as a safety. And I think he knifed into the backfield. And before Chuba could even get started, that thing was done. And so they get the stop and preserve the 0-0 tie. And no Lamar, it's all good. Their offense is so predicated on Lamar Jackson that it's not even fun watching the Ravens offense in the preseason. It's just meh without him in there. As for Carolina, Sam Darnold made his debut, as I mentioned, very brief, in and out. If you blinked twice, you wouldn't even realize he was in there. I thought I needed more, honestly. But their head coach said that they just wanted to get his feet wet. That's all they were looking to do. And that's exactly what they did. Literally, he dipped a toe in the water. Oh, this doesn't feel bad. They said, you're not getting in, though. Okay, cool. So didn't think he looked bad. Didn't think he looked good. Just thought he was out there. So everything was safe. No risky throws or anything. And I can tell you this, though. Terrence Marshall Jr. looks the part. They drafted him in the 2nd round. He's really going to help their wide receiving core. They're talking about extending Robbie Anderson. I think that's a good idea. And to pair him up, Marshall with Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, they're going to have a hell of a wide receiving core. They lose Curtis Samuel. They're going to replace him with Terrence Marshall. They're going to be just fine. Just fine. If he continues trending in the direction he's trending in. And then Tommy Tremble, I love him. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, so he's a Golden Domer. He's going to fit in perfectly in Carolina. I really love what he brings to the table. And who I thought was actually really solid was Will Grier. I wasn't expecting much from him, but he came in. I thought he handled the offense well, made some really good throws. I was actually really impressed by Will Grier. But with that said, they still get their asses handed to them 20-3. And the Ravens extend that winning streak out to 19 straight games. Atlanta at Miami. I told you about the Dolphins head coach Brian Flores and his philosophy with the preseason, which is balls to the wall, mashing the gas. We can't play scared out here. That's not how we roll. And you've seen it for 2 straight weeks now. Even though they didn't beat the Bears last week, it wasn't because they weren't out there trying. They played their guys. They gave it a run. And they showed it again this week. 37-17 destruction of the Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons refused to play any of their offensive starters. So this is what you get. And I told you, I don't like their depth. I told you, Tajay Sharp can't be your best receiver when you decide to sit all your guys. If he's the best you have, when you sit all your guys, you're in trouble. And that was very evident by their 3rd-string quarterback, Felipe Franks, who's a rookie out of Arkansas, having to play because A.J. McCarron tore his ACL on a handoff. Felipe Franks comes in the game and actually plays well. Uses his legs on a 4th down to extend the drive. And then on a 3rd down, throws a perfect strike on a slant to the aforementioned Tajay Sharp, who promptly lets the ball beat him up in his chest and drops it. Would have been a touchdown. That's why the Falcons can't win without their guys, because they don't have enough depth. And that's why they're going to continue to get their asses handed to them. I think last week they got plastered, I think. But it's because they don't have any depth. I think they did. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, A.J. McCarron injury leaves them with Felipe Frank as a backup. But I just got wind of the fact that they are looking to kick the tires of Josh Rosen. It's crazy. We just talked about him last podcast episode, and I said, I think his career is done. And lo and behold, he's getting an opportunity. I don't think this actually makes a ton of sense for the Falcons, though. Because A.J. McCarron, first and foremost, was the perfect backup for them. But he's done for the season, obviously. Josh Rosen isn't a reliable NFL backup. He can't even get on the field, and he's been on like 97 teams already, and everyone seems to agree that he stinks. So bringing him onto your team, other than if it's just for camp purposes, does exactly what again? They needed a guy like Matt Moore. I don't know if Matt Moore is available, if he's on somebody's roster, but they need a guy like that. If Josh McCown is available, if he's out there at 97 years old, that's the kind of guy they need on their team. Somebody they know if Matt Ryan goes down, at least this guy can come in and run our offense and give us a chance. Josh Rosen can't do that. At least we don't think he can. And 5 teams have already declared that he can, or so. Maybe it's only 4. I lose track of these things when you've only been in the league, 3 or 4 years, and you've been on 2 or 3 different teams per year, it seems like. But that's nor here nor there. I just don't love the Falcons' depth. And I think games like this continue to prove that. They need their frontline guys out there, or they don't stand a chance. As far as the Miami Dolphins are concerned, they've got tons of depth. They're really talented. And I'm gonna give you guys a hot take right now. A piping hot take. Hear me out on this. And I don't care if you agree or disagree with this. This is my take. Everyone wanted to bury Tua last year. Oh, Tua stinks. And I even had Dolphins fans questioning whether they got it right or not. And I'm like, what makes you think that you got it wrong? I thought Tua, like I said, Tua struggled in maybe 2 games last year. The Raiders game, that's the one that everybody got to see. So if you hadn't been watching, Tua stinks. They had to bench him for Fitzpatrick, who had to save the day. Tua's garbage. And I'm like, you haven't been paying attention, have you? And yeah, no, he wasn't great against the Bills in week 17 when they needed him. Yeah, I get it. Okay. He wasn't good against the Broncos. He was excellent against the Cardinals. He didn't do much of anything against the Rams, but it was enough for them to win. He was pretty much a passenger that game. But he had his moments. I think there was a game there against the Chiefs. I thought he was really good in that game. They lost that game, but he was really good. Anyway, I digress. I thought Tua was solid for a guy coming off of hip surgery. Everybody conveniently forgets. This man was coming off of hip surgery last year. We didn't even know if he was going to play last season. And he played a bulk of the season last year. And at times, quite well, I may add. People also forget that at one point, it was tank for Tua. That's what everybody was saying after he won the national championship as a freshman. Oh, can't wait till this guy comes out. He won the Elite 11 competition when he was in high school. He's that good. I'm going to say this right now. Of all the sophomore quarterbacks, the second-year guys, it's Justin Herbert, it's Joe Burrow, it's Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the best this upcoming season. Mark my words, you heard it here first. He's healthy. And not to say that the other guys don't have talent, because the Chargers have talent, the Bengals have talent. But Tua's set up for success in Miami. The other teams I don't think are necessarily set up for success. We'll see about the Chargers. I have my doubts. I don't like how they're running their ship right now. We'll see. We know the Bengals are going to stink. And, there's some people out there. I used to be one of those people, man, look out for the Bengals. I think I said that last year. And before Joe Burrow got hurt, that was a real thing. Look out for the Bengals. They beat Tennessee. They just put a nice one on the Tennessee Titans. Look out for the Bengals. Then Joe Burrow got hurt, and it was no more look out for the Titans. Anyway, Tua's going to be the best of that sophomore crop of quarterbacks in the upcoming season. I feel that way, and we're going to see if I'm right or wrong about that. But, man, was he absolutely awesome in this football game. Tua was 16 of 23, 183 yards and a touchdown. And the 16 of 23, I don't think actually does him any justice, because I think a lot of those incompletions came late in the second quarter when they were trying to get into field goal range. Anyway, I thought Tua was magnificent. He was decisive. He was accurate. And you could see that zip back on the ball that I thought he didn't have necessarily last year. That's back now. So, I thought he was razor sharp. They got a scare with Jalen Waddle in this game. He is blocking for one of their running backs on a play, and then he just comes off limping and then just falls down. Collapses on the sideline. Doesn't even make it all the way off the field. And I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. And remember, this is a guy that missed the bulk of the college football season last year with an ankle injury. So I see him hobbling, and the first thing I'm thinking is ankle. Uh-oh. He leaves the field, comes back, and actually re-enters the ball game. So, threat averted. But that one was scary if you're a Dolphins fan. We'll see. We'll see. And there was a guy in the game for the Dolphins. His name is Sam Eckevon. This young fella here, 4 sacks in this game. And normally I don't talk about defensive guys because it's preseason, man. You got all kinds of guys from all different walks of life getting run in these preseason games. But when a guy's flying around in the first half and into the second half, it's just hard not to notice. And this guy was flying around, bagging the quarterback at a high rate that I just had to write him down. I don't see how he doesn't make the football team. But anyway, I digress. They look ready. The Dolphins look ready to compete with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. I don't know if the Patriots are serious or not. We'll find out. But the Dolphins are definitely legit. That wasn't a 1-year flash in the pan, here today, gone tomorrow type of season. They're legitimate. They got some sticking power, and I think they're going to be led by Tua Tagovailoa this year. So, Tennessee Titans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Titans win 34-3. And this was just one of the. Remember, I told you about the 3 ways you can get your ass whipped in the preseason. Well, the Bucs elected to go with, hey, we not playing none of our dudes. So they essentially had the Titans. The Titans, not necessarily all of their varsity squad out there, but a good enough portion of it. There was no Ryan Tannehill. There was no Derrick Henry in this game. So it's not like the Titans came with their legit studs, but they had their defensive guys out there for the most part. They had enough of their offensive guys out there that you could put a whooping on them 34-3. And that they did. So Logan Woodside and Matt Barkley played well. And I also thought running back Mekhi Sargent, as a rookie out of Iowa, played really well in this game also. And I think it's nice to see those 2 quarterbacks play well behind Ryan Tannehill, just in case something happens. You don't have the rug just completely pulled from under you. For Tampa Bay, nobody played in this game. That's the underlying, gist of it, essentially, is nobody played. And then here's another thing. O.J. Howard is losing confidence. Man had 2 drops in the first half of this game. Ultimately had 3 catches. It's good that they came back to him, but 2 big drops too. They weren't out in the flats, only going to be a 5. Now, the first one was a good loft job from Blaine Gabbert, on a 3rd down and 6. That would have been a gain of 27. And he bobbles it off the top of his helmet and drops it. And then he throws a great seam ball to him. And I don't know if he was thinking about an impending hit or what, but he dropped that one too. And that would have been a gain of 22. He's losing confidence. Somebody has to go rescue that man. Go save him. He knows they don't have confidence in him there. And you could see it. He's 4th on the depth chart at tight end. Somebody's got to go save that man. Go save him. Somebody, he needs to be saved. Go save him. OJ needs to be saved. Please save him. Somebody go save OJ Howard, man. Boy's drowning out there without a life raft. Kyle Trask threw 2 interceptions. Another one of these young quarterbacks getting in the game late. Ugh. Not good. Not good at all. Detroit at Pittsburgh. This was another fun one to watch from the Pittsburgh Steelers standpoint because they played their dudes, and I love to see it. 26-20 win for the Steelers over the Lions. For the Lions, no Jared Goff in this one. He played in the first game. They didn't play him in this one. I like Jamar Jefferson, though, and I told Lions fans that they would like him, too. Late round draft pick out of Oregon State. And, wasn't the fastest guy, which is why he fell. But he's a natural, instinctual runner. You saw that in this game. And I think you're going to see a lot of that throughout the course of the season because I think they're going to be relying heavily on their run game. Ben Roethlisberger, though, was the story because he played in this game. And I didn't think he was going to play until the 3rd preseason game. So this is a sight for sore eyes. And Ben gets out there and he just gets freaky early. 8 of 10, $137 and 2 touches. And what made the 2 touches fun is they came and they went to the same guy, Pat Freiermuth, the rookie tight end out of Penn State. And both of them were just delicious. Climb the ladder grabs where you say, They got themselves a stud at tight end. And you heard a lot of people saying baby Gronk this and that. And I was like, I don't know if I see that. I'm saying, I might see that now. Those were so impressive, both of those grabs, especially the second one. That took such body control to turn pirouette, snatch it out of the air, get your feet down in bounds. They were 2 things of beauty. And you know what the game's really been missing in Pittsburgh is a reliable red zone threat at the tight end position. Yeah, Ebron had a bunch of catches last year, but Ebron also have a drop on your ass. And he had a drop, I want to say it was either the first or the second possession that ended the drive. He'll drop the ball, too, every now and again. This guy doesn't drop shit, Pat Freiermuth. He doesn't drop nothing. And you saw it on those 2. And Ben, you could see, Ben is like, uh-oh, y'all mother effers are in trouble. If this dude starts catching the rock like Heath Miller in the red zone, it's over. I don't have to force it to none of these little munchkins. I don't have to force it to Deontay Johnson on a back shoulder fade no more. I'm going to just throw it to the big son of a bitch in the back of the end zone and dare you to try to stop it. Shit could get ugly for teams trying to defend the Steelers. If Pat Freiermuth is going to keep doing this, God bless and good night. It's over. It's over. Najee Harris. Nice. He had a nice little catch and run down the sideline. He's going to be A-okay. I told you, every game I watch him, he just makes plays, man. He's going to fit into that offense quite nicely. And then finally, this guy just keeps flashing for me. Every time I watch the Steelers in the preseason, I walk away saying, that Alex Highsmith, man, I don't know, man. I know they signed Melvin Ingram, but this Highsmith kid is like, yo, don't forget about me. Don't you forget about me. Don't you? He said, don't forget about me now. I'm over here trying to make some plays, man. Those boys, look out for the Steelers, man. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Indy, and I know it's hard to say that about a team that was the last undefeated team in the league last year, but nobody felt like the Steelers were legit last year. Everybody thought that was a house of cards, and that proved to be the case. This is a different Steelers team this year. If they stay healthy, they could be dangerous. Indy at Minnesota. This was a snooze fest, and you knew it was going to be. There was no Carson Wentz, obviously. They're hoping he'll be back for week 1. I saw a very, very encouraging video, if you're a Colts fan, of this guy, cutting off of the toe and running at practice. So that's really good for the week 1 prospects of him being back. And then Minnesota, they just, I think it's going to be a rough season for them. We're going to see. Anyway, 12-10. The final score here for the Indianapolis Colts to get the win. Kwity Paye blows by Rashad Hill for a sack, and Sam Ellinger threw 2 picks. So Kwity Paye was a guy that I was like, I don't know if I see it with him. I see the explosion. I see the twitch. I just don't know if I see the skill. Well, sometimes don't worry about all that other stuff. If they've got the raw ingredients and you got the right chef, you can cook up some crack. think that's the situation that a lot of people look at these collegiate players with. Like, look. Don't worry about the technique and all of that shit. You worried about the wrong stuff. You want the package to look ready. As soon as you pull it out, you just go. Batteries already included, and you just start playing with it. Nah, he's got everything you need. You just got to go. Batteries are sold separately. That's it. I saw it on that play. He blew by Rashad Hill. He stinks. That's not their starting left tackle. It doesn't matter. He can only blow by who they put in front of him. That was impressive. If they can get that out of Kwity Paye, it'll make that defense even more disgusting. And it was already fun to watch last year. Sam Ellinger is a guy that I liked coming out of Texas a lot more than most people. I thought he did some good things, but he threw 2 picks in this game, and he didn't have to throw 2 picks in this game. So thought they were forced, and the Vikings did a great job of getting their hands on footballs. One of them, the only touchdown the Vikings have scored in the preseason to this point, was a pick 6 by Troy Dye, one of their linebackers. And the Vikings, they just stink right now. Now, again, they rarely play their offensive guys. We haven't seen Justin Jefferson. I think we might have seen a little bit of Adam Thielen. I could be wrong. He might not have played in the preseason yet either, but I thought we saw a little bit of Adam Thielen in this past week's game, but we haven't seen Justin Jefferson yet. And Chaz Surratt had a pick in this game. You know how I felt about him coming out of North Carolina. I really think he's going to be a good football player as well. Or he didn't have a pick, excuse me. He had a blitz where he lit up Sam Ellinger on a play. I think he's going to be really good too. I just like the Vikings linebackers in general. They know how to draft those guys there. And they all fit the same DNA profile, like athletic, rangy, physical, all the ingredients, all the goodies you're looking for at the linebacker position. But the Vikings D with the pick 6, that's their only touchdown in the preseason, as I mentioned. Greg Joseph missed a 51-yarder, but then came back and made a 49-yarder. Only worth mentioning because of how dreadful the Vikings were kicking the football last year. They need to solidify the kicking position because I don't see them scoring a whole hell of a lot of points and, lighting up the scoreboard. They need all the points that they can get, and so they're going to need their kicking situation to be squared away. Hopefully Greg Joseph can do that for them. So that was that game. Houston at Dallas. 20-14 Texans victory in this game. Jacob Martin with a forced fumble. Charles Omenihu was everywhere. I want to say that I owe the Texans a double O. Okay. I was wrong about Jacob Martin. Remember when they made that trade? Jacob Martin and a 3rd round pick for Jadeveon Clowney, and I was like, what? You just did what? That's the best you could get? Who the hell is Jacob Martin anyway? And I remember, I think it was either a Seahawks fan or Texans fan. It was probably a Seahawks fan because only they would know. It was like, Jacob Martin, he ain't minced meat. He ain't chopped liver, man. That dude can actually play ball. I was like, he ain't worth Jadeveon Clowney in a 3rd. He ain't just worth him in a 3rd for Jadeveon Clowney. I don't know, man. Who got the better of that trade right now as we look back? I'm saying, Clowney's been bouncing from team to team. Meanwhile, the Texans are extracting a ton of value out of this Jacob Martin fella, man. I'm just telling you, this dude's got some talent. Anyway, I digress. Charles Omenihu was everywhere in this game. I think he had 2 or 3 sacks. He had a fumble recovery, that fumble forced by Jacob Martin. I think Omenihu recovered it. Anyway, Desmond King. He's such a natural as a punt returner. You want to go see a guy naturally field and return punts, just nonchalantly this is what I do? Go watch Desmond King, man. He's so good at it. And he's not blazing fast either. He's just really good at returning punts. Anyway, had a nice return in this game against Dallas. Helped set up some points. Garrett Gilbert stinks. I think the Cowboys figured that out. It'll be fun to watch this next episode of Hard Knocks because I think they figured out that he stinks. And I feel like they've officially moved on from him because he got like 2 possessions, maybe 3, and he was awful. And then they yanked his ass. I mean, and if you like, this was supposed to be his audition to prove that he was worthy of the backup behind Dak. And within 2 or 3 possessions, this dude's out of the game and he does not return, and he was not injured. So I think they spoke loud when they put in Cooper Rush, like, okay, we're done with you. And Rush actually came in and he didn't play bad. He didn't play poorly. I think he did have an interception, but I thought Cooper Rush actually played well. I don't know if he threw an interception or not. I knew when he came in, I was like, hey, Cooper, you look a lot more comfortable than the last time I saw you. So, and then Ben DiNucci, my God, was he a funk fest. He threw 3 picks in this game. I don't know if he's going to make the roster this time around, honestly. I mean, look, you don't have enough roster space for 2 funk fest guys. One of them has to go. Gilbert or DiNucci has to go. I think DiNucci probably is the odd man out. And Cooper Rush might be elevated to QB2, though. I'd be interested to see what they do this next preseason game because I don't expect Dak to get any run in their final preseason game. And I think Cooper Rush might get the start after the way he played against the Texans. So that'll be fun to watch on Hard Knocks to see what happens there because that's a very convoluted backup situation. Let me repeat what I said after the Hall of Fame game. I think it needs to be repeated one more time. Dak better stay healthy. And I said that about the Steelers as well. I've seen a lot better play from Mason Rudolph since that Hall of Fame game. I have not seen a lot better play from the Cowboys backup quarterback since then. Dak better stay healthy or they're in a world of trouble. Way more trouble than they were last year when at least they had Andy Dalton. Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Rams. This was an awful game to watch. I mean, talk about 2 teams that literally said, we're gonna scrimmage against each other. That'll be the preseason game, and then we'll just put random guys on the field during the actual preseason game. We don't give a shit. Literally, the Raiders for the second straight week played Nathan Peterman for all 4 quarters. And the Rams said, you know what? I thought that was pretty cool. So we're going to do the same thing with Bryce Perkins from UVA. Like, first of all, where the hell did Bryce Perkins even come from? Like, I know he's from UVA. I know he played at Virginia. I watched him play. I'm like, I didn't even know he was on an NFL roster. And he's out there getting a bunch of reps. These 2 played the entire game. This was an awful watch. You want to see a game that offers up no nutritional value, go watch this game. None of the names, none of these guys that you watched in this game for the most part are going to be key contributors. Both teams agreed to pass on the game essentially. So this was a toilet bowl here. Denver at Seattle. I just hate the way the Rams approach the preseason, by the way. They take advantage of the practices, but they don't play in the preseason games. For whatever it's worth. Whatever. Denver at Seattle. The Broncos right now are on an ass-kicking tour this preseason. I don't know if it carries over into the regular season or not. I hope it does because I'm a huge fan of Vic Fangio. You know how I feel about Drew Lock. Teddy Bridgewater was exceptional in this game. I think they have one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. They just have to stay healthy, especially on the offensive side. But if you look at what they've added defensively, they're starting to catch up with the offense. So I think they've got all the ingredients necessary to make things interesting in that really all of a sudden loaded AFC West if the Chargers are as advertised. But all of a sudden, you look up and they're kicking ass and taking names. 33-6 last week against the Vikings. 30-3 this week, both on the road, I may add, this time against the Seattle Seahawks. Granted, the Seahawks decided we're not playing Russell Wilson, and I get that. He's earned the right to not play in the preseason if that's the route they want to take. But again, they can only, you can only beat up on who they put in front of you, and that's what they've done the first 2 weeks. Vikings decided they wanted to pass on preseason game 1. They kicked their ass, and the Seahawks decided they wanted to start Alex Magoo. All right, well, you're going to get some of this big pile of doo-doo. And that's exactly what they got. Broncos taking the preseason seriously. They forced 3 turnovers in their first 4 possessions of this game. Bradley Chubb with a forced fumble on the 4th down. You had Justin Simmons with the interception. I want to say the very first possession of the game. Bridgewater was outstanding. He came out guns a-blazing. He had to if he wanted to really make this a competition after Drew Lock was sparkling in the opening game of the preseason. Bridgewater was 9 of 11 for 105 yards and a touchdown, and he threw a dime down to like the 1 yard line to one of his tight ends who stepped out at the 1. I was like, whew, that was a gorgeous throw by Teddo. They just got it going right now, the Denver Broncos do. Defensively, they're clicking, and this is all without Von Miller. Defensively, they got it clicking. Offensively, they're hitting. KJ Hamler, 2nd week in a row with a touchdown grab for him. So they got it going, man. I love what they're doing, and I hope they continue this into the regular season. Meanwhile, for the Seahawks, it's not really much to talk about here. They didn't give us much. I know John Usura, I hope he's okay, because he was one of the bright spots receiving-wise, and then he gets hurt, and then I didn't see him again in the game. So I don't know if John Usura came back or not, but I hope he did, because I hope he's okay. I know he didn't come back in the game, but he was playing well, and they were getting it to him in a multitude of ways. And then DJ Dallas, guy that I liked last year coming out of Miami for them, perfect fit for their offensive scheme, had some good returns. He's just making an impact wherever he can, and they gave him opportunity on kickoff returns, and he's taking advantage of it and making the most of it. So, again, not a lot for you to get excited about with the Seahawks. Total ass thrashing, 30-3 at the hands of the Denver Broncos. This was another snooze fest here. Both Giants games this preseason have been awful watches. Giants, Browns, 17-13 win for the Browns. Neither team really played anybody of real substance. I think the Browns might have played a couple of receivers, maybe a tight end or two, but for the most part, their entire offense was comprised of backups. Much of their defense the same. For the Giants, I'm still baffled as to why Daniel Jones isn't getting as many reps as humanly possible in the preseason. Again, I had a Giants fan tell me, and I think it was my guy, Emperor Meach, who is a massive Giants fan. Love Emperor Meach to death. Shout out to my guy, Emp, who hit me up after last week's show when I questioned why he wasn't playing. And I said, look, I don't have all the facts, but if he's healthy, I'd love to know why he's not playing. Are you hiding something? I just need answers, because last year the excuse for Daniel Jones was, oh, he doesn't have enough reps in this offense, and there was no OTAs, this, that, and the third. And I saw a guy that somewhat regressed last year after an amazing rookie season. Yeah, there were turnovers and fumbles, but 27-13. You'll take that, right? So he regressed last year, and I said, well, this is great. You get a whole offseason, you get these preseason games, and they should take full advantage. You got all these new weapons that he needs to be getting timing and rhythm down with. And they got this guy sitting out like he's Russell Wilson, like he's the quarterback on the opposite sideline in Baker Mayfield that took his team to the divisional round of the postseason last year. No. Your guy stinks. Your guy is on not necessarily life support. Your guy's fighting for his NFL livelihood, and you're sitting him out like he's some kind of superstar that he's already arrived. Like, that shit doesn't make any sense to me. But again, if he's banged up, then I get it. If he's healthy, I don't understand what's going on here with the Giants. I'm at a loss. You're not good enough to do this. But okay, I don't care. I'm not a Giants fan. So Devontae Booker will be a huge free agent acquisition for them. I stated that when they made the move. I said, quietly, everybody will talk about Kenny Golladay and all of these other guys that they signed, the corner that they got from Tennessee, all of these different shiny pieces that they acquired in free agency. That's what everybody will talk about. Devontae Booker will probably be the best and most utilized of all of them. He was outstanding in this game for them. The Browns, this is the biggest takeaway I have for the Browns. Despite playing absolutely no one, essentially, And, Kadero Hodge making a nice catch in the end zone and having Donovan Peoples-Jones out there, aside from just those guys playing essentially, there was nobody out there yet for the second straight week. And I felt this way last year, and he won Coach of the Year, so I know that this is a fact. This is a very well-coached Cleveland Browns team. It really is. I am so impressed with Kevin Stefanski and the job that he's done with this organization. To not coach in the preseason game last year and to have them play the way that they did and to have him do some of the things that he's done in such a short period of time. Remember, Baker Mayfield was a mess when he got there. And I just watched them in the preseason. All their backups are in, and they're just a well-oiled machine. Not a lot of mistakes. I think they're well coached. So that's what I gleaned from that game. And then finally, 49ers at the Chargers. 15-10 win for the 49ers. This game was all about Trey Lance. Again, for the Chargers, real quick, the defense is fast. We knew that already, but seeing it is another thing. And they don't even have all their guys out there, but they got a bulk of them out there. They're defensive starters. They're fast on defense. Easton Stick continues to develop. That's cool to see, but I'm more interested in my, second-year quarterback developing in actual games, not Easton Stick developing. But I guess if something were to happen to my starting quarterback, you're going to need Easton Stick to step up, or you could just go with the 800-year veteran Chase Daniel. But whatever. That's their issue, not mine. I've already stated how I feel about not playing guys like Justin Herbert, which, it just absolutely makes zero sense to me why he's not playing. I guarantee you if Joe Burrow were healthy, he'd be playing in the preseason. Tua's played in every single game. These guys need reps. When you're in your second year in the league as a quarterback, I don't care how well you played in your first season, you can't just go the entire preseason without playing. But we'll see. I mean, again, Justin Herbert may be tearing it up in camp and in these scrimmages with these teams that they're scrimmaging against, and they may feel like we don't need to see it. Okay, whatever. Trey Lance, let's talk about him. Got off to a slow start. I thought it was the direct opposite of last week, where he got off to the scorching start with the 75-yard Trey area bomb, and then kind of fizzled out after that. This week, he starts slow, throws an interception, gets sacked, and then goes bananas the next two possessions and throws two touchdowns in a row. 8 of 14, 102 yards, two touchdowns, one interception. I thought it was a nice bounce-back performance after what was an uneven performance in the first game of the preseason against the Chiefs. So I thought of the rookie quarterbacks, he had the third best performance. One for me was Zach Wilson, two was Mac Jones, and Trey Lance was third this week. So I love his legs. He showed some athleticism, as we know he has. Big arm, he showed that. Showed poise in the pocket. There was a lot of pockets that were a little muddy around him. And he also showed the ability to look off defenders. Like, one of his most impressive throws was to Travis Benjamin on a touchdown. I want to say it was his second touchdown to Travis Benjamin. He's looking at the left side of the field. Then he looks back to his right, and he knows exactly where he's going with the ball. He looked the safety off. That's some real veteran shit, man. And this is his second NFL start. I told you this dude, Trey Lance, is different. I've been telling anybody, I said, yo, he's different. He's different. And you see it, man. He's definitely wired different. That's a 7-year vet move for a dude making his second career not start, because he didn't start this game, making his second appearance in an NFL game. He's going to make it tough on Kyle Shanahan, because I can tell you Jimmy Garoppolo's looked like ass this preseason. So he's going to make it tough on, I think ultimately Jimmy Garoppolo starts, but he's going to make it tough. It's not going to make it easy on Kyle Shanahan, that's for sure, especially if he continues to play well. But anyway, that's week 2 of the NFL preseason, and that's Slate Skatin. Man, my ankles, I'm not going to lie to you, a little sore. Got a couple of super chats. Let's knock these out real quick. And holler at my guy, Chauncey Davis. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Chauncey Davis. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chauncey Davis, writes, Lou, I may have joined the wrong mob squad. Help the old man out. Thanks. It's all good, man. So if you go to my YouTube page or my YouTube channel, you will see the word join right next to where the subscribe button is. That's where you would need to hit. I've done a whole video. If you want to, before you hit the join button, if you want to know exactly what you're getting yourself into, that's what you need to watch. The video is entitled Mob Squad on the Move or something along those lines. Mount up. We're on the move, Mob Squad. Go check it out. It's a video with me flexing in my Mob Squad merch. Go check that video out first. That'll give you a rundown of what you can expect, and it'll let you know if you want to become a member of the mob or not. Thank you for the super chat, Chauncey, and I really do appreciate you. Let's see. Chauncey Davis, tripling up, really do appreciate you. So you definitely back, Chauncey. I can definitely tell. Thank you for tripling up. Really do appreciate you, Chauncey. My guy, CD, writes, Pete Hainer of the Washington football team is what O.J. Howard needs. The talent is there. I agree. I'd love it if we went and rescued him. But, I mean, with what we have going on right now, last year would have been the time to rescue him. We got 3 tight ends on the roster now, especially if they really love Sammy's Reyes, which I think they do. So with us drafting John Bates and obviously having Logan Thomas, I don't see them trying to go after O.J. Howard. There was interest there, I think, last year and maybe even the year before, but I don't think that interest is there anymore. But, man, he definitely needs to be saved big time. You can see that the confidence is waning in Tampa Bay, and he realizes that they don't love me like they say they do. And it's leaking onto the field now, and anybody can see it. So he needs to change the scenery and fast. Captain Spartan 04. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Captain Spartan 04, writes, don't want to overreact. Titans low-key Super Bowl contenders. Hard to say that now until I see the complete outfit. Remember, they weren't great defensively last year. They could not get after the quarterback. They add Bud Dupree, but I need to make sure he's healthy and that he's exactly what they need. Obviously, I've got my doubts about them defensively still, but offensively, I'm certain the offense is going to work because they got Derrick Henry in that offensive line, and what they did essentially is they took a box detractor and added him to the squad. They essentially told Derek, don't worry about seeing any more 9 and 8 man fronts. We got you, bruh. They went and got a dude that takes a safety out of the box, a defender out of the box, in Julio. And if they don't want to respect Julio, then they just going to go over the top. And Ryan Tannehill throws one of the prettiest deep balls in the league. So you pick your poison. I have no doubts that the offense is going to work. It's just, is the defense going to be up to par? And if the defense is, they got a shot. Because they have the recipe. If the defense is legit, they have the recipe to beat some of the high-flying teams in the AFC because you can ground them into oblivion, speed the game up. People like to say slow it down, but when you run the ball, you speeding the game up. And they have a chance to do that with their offense. So we'll see about them. We'll see. So that takes us to our final segment one more pause, and then we'll come back and we'll jump into garbage time. You already know, and if you don't, your ass better call somebody. Backed by popular demand are the LTN exclusives platter of pools and leagues for the upcoming 2021 NFL season. First up, we start with the LTN NFL Weekly Pick'em Pool. No year-long commitment here. Rather, this is a week-to-week pool that allows players to pick winners of each week's games, including a Monday night winner with combined points, which serves as a tiebreaker. So essentially, you pick a winner for each and every single game, and then Monday night, you pick a winner and points combined between the two teams. That serves as a tiebreaker. The person with the least amount of losses wins the entire pot. $7 per sheet, winner takes all, minus a $2 per sheet maintenance fee. No limit as to how many sheets you can play per week. So if you want to play 3 hands because you think that gives you a better chance to win, by all means, knock yourself out. Must have PayPal or Cash App to participate, as that's how you will turn in your money and that's how you will receive your earnings should you win. Link to sign up in the description of this video. Just head over to LouieTeeNetwork.net and hit the LTN exclusives tab if you don't want to hit the link down in the description. Next up, we have the 9th annual Louie T Network Soul Survivor Pool. I am 0 for 8 in this department. I am dying to get a win here. Survivor pool rules apply. So simply, you pick a team to get you through to the next week. If that team wins, you advance to the next week. You can no longer pick that team for the remainder of the pool, and so forth, so forth. The team you pick loses, you're then eliminated. Last player or participating member standing wins the entire pool. $20 entry fee here. Winner takes all. Must have PayPal or Cash App to participate. Once again, same thing. You need those two, one of the two, to pay and then to get the money should you win. The link is down in the description of this video to register for the Survivor Pool. Just need to either hit that link and it'll send you directly to where you need to go, or you can go over to LouieTeeNetwork.net, hit the LTN exclusives tab, and go from there. Finally, we go to the Don Dada, the granddaddy of them all, Winners and Losers League. Okay, this is a year-long league requiring weekly selections to be made for 18 straight weeks. So if you cannot make a season-long commitment to put in picks each and every single week, this is not the league for you. We talk about the NFL being a war of attrition and not being a sprint, but rather a marathon. That's exactly what this league is. A running accumulation of wins and losses will be kept, and the winner will be the person with the best win-loss record at the end of the season. Okay, winner will take all, will get the championship belt and the title of Winners and Losers champ. You're listening right now to the current two-time Winners and Losers champ, and I don't see that changing in the upcoming season. $25 entry fee, must have PayPal or Cash App to participate for the same reasons I mentioned before. Link in the description to join this league. Go ahead and make sure you do that expeditiously. Get over there and sign up as quickly as possible so we can get all the particulars hammered out, and you'll know how many people are in it and how much money is going to be awarded to the winner, which is going to be me. And so again, all of the pools and leagues, you can see the links down in the description and click those specific links to wherever you want to go, or you can just head over to LouieTeeNetwork.net and hit the LTN exclusives tab, and that will show you where you need to go, and you'll have all of the buttons directing you. Please read all of the different prompts once you get to those specific pools and leagues so that you don't miss any of the small, finer, granular details. That being said, that's it. LTN exclusives for the 2021 season officially open for business. Please sign up. Let's have fun. But most importantly, let's get dubs. Bart Scott can't wait. We're back just in time for garbage time. Let's wrap this thing up. And I don't like talking about this often because I think this is a really bad product. And I've said it from the jump when they first revealed this list as a yearly thing. I watched the first 2 seasons of it, and I was like, these lists don't make any sense. And I don't think the players who they claim are the ones that comprise this list, I don't think they actually get the concept of this list. I think a lot of these players don't actually watch the games. They only watch film of the players that they're playing against a lot of times. You may watch, film of a guy at your position because you're trying to learn some, tricks of the trade and a few pointers, or maybe steal a couple of things from a guy's game and add it to yours. But you're not watching these players around the league per se. So you don't really know what's going on. I always go back to, this is when I first realized this list was pretty fraudulent. One year, Donovan McNabb was in Washington, and he was ass in Washington. And he was on the top 100 list that next year. And I was like, what? I think he was like 99 or whatever. I'm like, there's no way he should be even remotely close. But that goes to show you that the players were just picking guys that they knew. It was like a popularity contest, similar to like the Pro Bowl. So this list is a joke, right? So the top 100 this year, I told you this is the thing that I think is legit about the list. I said the one thing they get right every year is the top 10. Now you could argue where the players go in the top 10, but generally speaking, they get the top 10 players in the league correct. And so this year, here are the top 10 players from last year. Remember, this list is supposed to be the best 100 players from last season, not going into this year. Okay. Brady, Aaron Donald, Derrick Henry, Patrick Mahomes, Jamal Adams, or Devontae Adams, excuse me, Josh Allen, Watt, not JJ, TJ Watt, Aaron Rodgers, Travis. Is it Kelsey or Kels? Because I've watched the Friday night, Monday night telecast, and Steve Levy is still calling him Travis Kelsey, and he says, Kelsey says it's still Kelsey, but he said that his name is really Kels. What the hell is it? Your mama named you Kels, I'm going to call you Kels, okay? His dad's side of the family says it's Kels. His mama's side is like, we don't give a shit. It's Kels. And then Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins. Okay? Those are the guys that make up the top 10. Now, what order you want to put them in? Or Jamal Adams, I don't know which Adams is that, Devontae or Jamal. Have at it. The rest of the list is questionable at best. And the reason I bring it up, the only reason I even thought about this list and even brought it up was because a Washington fan asked me last week, hey, is Terry going to be on the list? And I said, bruh, you didn't figure this out already? Terry's not getting any love on this list, which he should, but he's not going to. If Chase Young has already been revealed and Terry hasn't, do you think anybody's going to take Terry over Chase on a top 100 NFL list? You got to be out of your mind. So if Chase has already been revealed, there is no Terry. And then when you look at some of the receiver names like Cole Beasley, and not to shit on Cole Beasley, he had a great year last year. He's not better than Terry McLaurin. Are you serious? You see some of the names on the list and Terry can't get any love? But this goes back to the conversation I had with Washington fans some time ago that they want to put Terry in the top 10 in the NFL at receiver. And I'm like, dude, he's not there yet. And I'm telling you right now, you put a list together of your receivers, I guarantee you people aren't taking Terry in their top 10. I think because we're fans of the team, and a lot of these fans don't watch other players around the league. So they think Terry is awesome, and he is, but they don't realize that there are other receivers around the league that are awesome too. And so I said all of that to say this. The top 100 list every year, outside of the top 10, is fraudulent. And we could have a 2-hour discussion on this list, pick it apart, and talk about how bad it is. But it's like this every year, so I don't waste my breath very often. I just wanted to make mention of it because there is a valid portion of this list, and it's the top 10. They get that right every year. They got it right again this year. But the rest of the list, the other 90 guys, I'm not saying that 75 to 80% of that list isn't correct. Probably of the 90 guys left after the top 10, probably 70 to 75 of those guys are legit names that belong on this list, or probably upwards of 80 of them belong on this list. They're probably about maybe a small fraction of 10 guys that you're like, okay, I could find a guy better and flip him out for somebody else. Or you could just start putting guys in the list, and the guys that are towards the end, they just get pushed out. So if you're at 100 and I put a new name in ahead of you anywhere on the list, that's going to push 100 out. Okay, so be it. If I put two names in that 99 and 100 get pushed out, that's fine. So anyway, I just felt like mentioning that because this list is jacked every year. They overlook certain players at specific positions, and I just thought I'd make mention of it. So, got a super chat here. This one is from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American, writes, am I the only one who's loving these new darker burgundy we rocking this year? Not the reddish color. Those mustard yellow pants were ugly as F too. Everybody keeps talking to me about the darker burgundy we're wearing this year. I haven't noticed. And maybe my eyes aren't trained. I know when we wore the red on reds, that's a different color burgundy. That's a more flush, vibrant burgundy. And the pants, to me, have always been a deeper, darker, burgundy. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. The pants, the colors look the same to me. But this is like the third person that is like, you see the darker pants? No, I don't see the darker pants. I'm sorry. I missed them. Somebody help me. Help me. I don't see them. I didn't realize they were any darker. If anything, maybe when Bruce Allen came along and decided he wanted to play picnic in pants, that changed the color, because you got to know that the Washington Redskins of the 70s, when they wore the yellow pants, the burgundy wasn't the same burgundy as the ones from the championship color burgundy. It's a totally different burgundy. That was a much lighter burgundy. So all they did was revert back to the old burgundy, which was the championship color pants. If you go back and look at the late 80s, early 90s Joe Gibbs Washington teams that wore white tops, burgundy pants, it's the same color. To me it is. I could be wrong, but it looks like the same color to me. But anyway, I digress. Maybe the pants are darker. I'm not the guy to ask, I guess. Anyhow, thank you for that super chat, Mr. Fat American. Excuse me. Got sidetracked because I have a couple of new members. I already shouted out my guy, Rashid Fry. I'm going to shout you out again. Eddie Behringer, going to shout you out again as well. Got a new member here, H. Lucas. Welcome to the Mob Squad. Thank you for joining the Mob Squad. Stand up. Definitely in the building. H. Lucas along with Rashid Fry and Eddie Behringer. And I have another new member here in Anthony Shannon. Thank you for joining the Mob Squad, Anthony Shannon. Stand up. My guy Ant is in the building as a member of the Mob Squad. And I think I got one more here, Mike Natoli. Thank you for joining the illustrious Mob Squad, the one and only MOBB Mike Natoli. Welcome. Stand up. Y'all are all officially in the building as members of the Mob Squad. So, with that, got another super chat from Condoleezza Perry, my girl Condo P. What's going on, girl? Sup, LT? What's up, Condo P? How do we join the Mob Squad? So, I put out a video the other day But I'll get into more details real quick, and I'll have another video tomorrow. But I officially launched it yesterday because it's after midnight on the East Coast. But if you go to any video, including the one you're watching now, and you go down to where the subscribe button is, right next to it, there will be a button that says join. You hit that, and then you just follow the prompt. Now, if you don't know what the mob is all about or what you're getting yourself into, and you would like more information before you join, I have done an entire video on that. It is entitled, I'm going to get you the exact title right now. I don't have to guess when I can just pull it up. That video is entitled Mob Squad Mount Up, We're on the Move. And it's a video with a thumbnail of me and my Mob Squad merch, posing. And that video gives you all the details on what the Mob Squad entails. And so if you want to join, I would advise you to watch that video first and then join. But either way, I really do appreciate you, Condo P, and all the new members of the Mob Squad. Stand up! We in the building, as always. Really do appreciate y'all. In any event, thank you for joining me on this late night edition of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Couldn't do this without you guys and your support. Remember, get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man, Louie T. Until next time, which will be Wednesday, which is tomorrow, if we're being technical about it. We'll be back for social media maneuvers on Wednesday, where you guys get to take over the show, and we'll start taking a look at preseason week number 3. Finally, we can get this thing behind us and get to the regular season. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys then. Until then, you guys, take care. Have a good one.